We'll now begin our first session titled AI Governance and International Relations, Visions and Real Steps Towards the Future. The session will be moderated by Professor Tatsuki Kono, Professor at the Research Center for Advanced Science and Technology, RCAST, and the Director of the Initiative for Global Security and Energy Transitions at the University of Tokyo. We are privileged to welcome the following distinguished panelists. Professor Tatsuya Harda, Professor at the RCAST University of Tokyo, Dr. Qais Hamami, Director of the Center of Strategic Foresight and AI at the ISESCO, Dr. Ibtisam al-Mazrou'i, CEO and founder of AIE3, Chairperson of the UNAI for Good Impact Initiative, and expert AI executive and tech visionary leader, Dr. Mohammed Suleiman, Director of the Strategic Technology and Cybersecurity Program at the Middle East Institute, Washington, D.C. Dr. Mohammed no, that's it, sorry.
So shall we get started? Good morning, and hello everyone. My name is Kono, and I'm a head of a Global Security and Energy Transition Division in RCAST. So I'm so surprised, and it is very hot today, and I'm awfully sorry I already take off my jacket because my laboratory is very hot. And thank you very much for attending this session 1. And today's topic in this session is the AI governance and international relations, and contains the 4 presentations first. And the first one is the Professor Harada will introduce the cutting-edge technologies of AI research and development. And Harada Sensei, please go ahead.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for introduction. It's my great pleasure to present to you in this prestigious conference. So today, I'd like to talk about a large multimodal model for real-world applications. Okay, so in 2022, ChatGPT showed that the large language model that could be beneficial for all the people. While the ChatGPT only focuses on the language, the current cutting-edge AI is for the multimodal model, which not only combine the language, but also the image and audio into the one model. Okay, so there are a lot of the potential and the possibility of the multimodal models because they have the strong and powerful generality, information complementation, and the ability to align with the humans, especially regarding the alignment with the humans. So it is possible to process the information which are very compatible with the human. So there are a lot of the applications of the multimodal models. However, our research team focuses on the 2 main directions. The first one is medical applications. The other one is the robotics applications. So firstly, I'd like to explain the reason why we are interested in the application of the multimodal model for the medical applications. Okay? The first reason is that Japan is facing rapid aging of populations, and the demand for medical devices services is increasing. So large multimodal model for medical care that could be a powerful tool for addressing the challenges of aging society. The second reason is that the quality of the data generated in the process of diagnosis and treatment is very, very high in Japan. So it is possible to construct the accurate medical multimodal model by using this high quality medical data for training. Okay, so I'd like to explain the reason why we are focusing on the robotics applications. The first reason is that there will be a shortage of labor in Japan due to a declining birth rate and due to aging populations. So AI robots are expected to fill the gap in the physical labor. The second reason is that Japan has a long history and abundant experience in the manufacture of industrial robots and automation technology. So by combining the robot technology with the large multimodal model, Japan has the potential to build advanced AI robots. Okay, so let me introduce the current work of our research team. So we are collaborating with the many information processing research industry institutions and medical research institutions to build Japan's largest medical multimodal models. So the goal of this project is construct a large-scale medical multimodal model that is compatible with the Japanese people and reliable and accurate enough to be used in critical medical situations and versatile enough to be applied to various medical departments and implement in society. Okay, so the first version of this model is scheduled to be released by the end of this fiscal year. So we are working on the AI robotics. So to this goal, so we have launched a social cooperation program with Honda Research and Development. The research teams at the University of Tokyo so have the strong background in the computer science, while the Honda R&D have the good, very, very nice experience in developing the humanoid robot. So it is possible to make strong progress in AI robot research through the collaboration between the U Tokyo and the Honda R&D. The primary target of this project is to make it possible for robots to perform dexterous and complex tasks using their hands, just like humans. Okay, so this is a slide for the take-home messages. Firstly, in order for the AI to have the same perception and understanding as humans, it is essential to have multimodal information processing capability, and the research in this area is becoming increasingly important. The secondary, so multimodal model for medical use are critical area of research for the future of the healthcare, as they can address the diversity and the complexity of patients and enable more accurate and comprehensive diagnosis and treatment. Finally, research into AI robotics that actively interact with the physical world and produce added value in real time is a crucial topic. That's all. Thank you for your attention.
So thank you very much for Harada Sensei. And the second one is Dr. Karis Hamnami-san. We'll talk about the specific movement in the Middle East Islamic world regarding AI governance. Please go.
Thank you, Professor. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. AI is no longer a concept of the future. It is here and now, transforming our industry, economy, and societies. As we stand in front of technology revolution driven by the rise of artificial intelligence, we must acknowledge that the governance of AI has become of the definite challenge of our time. It is imperative that we take a proactive and ethical approach to governing this transformation technology. AI's impact worldwide is big. By 2030, is accepted to add $50.7 trillion to the global economy, boosting productivity and innovation in all sectors. But with this great potential come challenges. AI is accepted to disrupt the job market by remove 85 million jobs by 2025, while also creating 97 million new ones and net gain of 12 million. Although these advancements are remarkable, they bring ethical and governance concerns, especially for regions like the Arab Islamic world, which risk failing behind in repairing of the divine of AI. By 2030, the Islamic world is accepted to receive only 2% of AI's global benefits, even though it's of the fastest growing region and is set to become the large global community by 2070. This difference, the need for inclusive AI governance framework to ensure that all regions, especially those at risk behind, can take advantage of AI opportunities. AI governance must be approached from multiple dimensions. First, ethical, ensuring that AI systems align with our culture and social values. Second, legal, developing regulation that address the unique challenge posed by AI. Third, geopolitical, understanding AI roles in shaping international power dynamics. And finally, strategic, anticipating future trends and development through strategic foresight. ISISCO, through its Foresight and AI Center, has taken this challenge to earth by having AI governance strategy designed to empower our 53 member state members. A key part of this strategy in the Charter of Artificial Intelligence from Islamic World, which was launched last week at the GAN Summit in Riyadh. This charter offers a comprehensive governance framework to help our member state, strategic included AI, in their national policies and programs. This charter isn't just a policy document. It is a flexible framework that evolves with the rapid advancement in AI, ensuring that our society stay aligned with global progress while holding into our shared values and ethical principles. The Charter is based on core ethical principles like respect for human dignity, privacy, protection, and promoting social justice with solidarity at its heart. This principle ensures that AI is developed in ways that benefit humanity, promote fairness, and respect the culture and the religious identity of our society. Moreover, the Charter treats a social technical system, meaning it must be governed not only from technical perspective, but also considering legal, social, and geopolitical aspects. We must admit that without governance, AI can't widen inequality, create ethical issues, and international security. A governance framework is crucial to prevent the risk and ensure AI is development and used responsibility. Our approach to AI government is based on strategic foresight, helping us predict future trends and challenges. At ISISCO Center of Foresight and AI, we have made AI governance a part of our organization action plan and executive program. Our foresight-driven method allows our member state to deal with AI impact proactivity instead of reacting to them. This included creating a committee for AI monitoring to track AI development, identity, growth opportunities, and advise policymakers our emerging challenges. In terms of governance, the Charter also offers practical recommendations such as creating a network of experts from different fields to provide insight and guide responsible AI development, holding an annual interministerial conference to encourage collaboration between government, academy, and industry, launching an online platform to centralize AI initiative. But effective AI governance can't be done alone. International cooperation is essential. Since AI crosses borders, no single country or region can regulate but it themselves. That's why ICESCO actively participates in global AI governance discussion, helping shape international norms and standards that respect the culture, ethical, and societal context of our member states. In addition, as a part of broader AI strategy, we focus heavily on building capacity. The future of AI in the Islamic world depends on our ability to close the digital literacy gap. To address this, we are launching AI training program aimed at the youth across the Islamic world. This initiative is crucial for creating the next generation of AI leaders who will contribute to the global digital economy while respecting our culture and ethical value. Ladies and gentlemen, AI is not one-time task, but a dynamic, ongoing process. AI technology evolves quickly, and we must update our governance framework to keep them effective and relevant. In conclusion, the future of AI in Islamic world and globally depend on our collective ability to govern it wisely. We must stay committed to ensuring AI service to great good, promoting sustainability, development, human dignity, and social harmony. Thank you.
So thank you very much for that, Dr. Carrison. And please move, we are going to the next presentation, and Dr. Ebustesam R. Marutsowe-san. I'm so sorry. It is very difficult to pronounce. And we'll introduce the ethics and the human rights in the development of AI. Please go ahead.
Distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. I am pleased to be here today and join this effective partnership between University of Tokyo and Trend Research and Advisory. We are living an important era where AI is changing the map, not only from technological advancement, but also from geopolitical and techno-political, I will say, relationship. It affects our economies, our international relationships, and also our diversification of our society. AI is projected to contribute almost more than $15.7 trillion to the global GDP by 2030, according to BWC. And I am here today to discuss the importance of the AI governance, the AI regulation. But before that, I would like to ask, do you believe that AI governance will solve the challenges that we are living today? If yes, please raise your hand. Okay, we have only 2 hands. Why I'm asking this question? Because I attended and I was invited to participate the first United Nations AI Governance Day, where high leaders and senior leaders from more than 60 countries, they were contributed in the discussion of AI governance. Also, I have been invited by the Prime Minister of UK to the closed session of the UK Safety Summit, the first one. And we ask this first question: do you believe that AI governance will resolve the challenges that, as experts today, we are here coming, and also nation leaders, we are trying to solve? Well, from experts and also national leaders, we are not sure that we are there yet. We are trying to sit together to understand a different perspective and how we can really leverage the power of international relations in advancing AI governance and also ethical guardrails. And why it is important? Because AI governance is not merely a technological advancement, but it has a regulatory challenge, and it's a critical component to foster this ethical innovation, international cooperation, and sustainable development. And in UAE, we take advanced and bold step in nurturing our research and development ecosystem. We have various R&D organizations. We have various academic institutions, such as Mohammed bin Zayed University of AI. We have also the Advanced Technology Research Council, where I used to be, and I was privileged to work as acting chief AI researcher and the founder of AI Cross Center unit there, where we developed and spearhead the development of Falcon AI model. At that time, in 2022, when I joined a Technology Innovation Institute, there was no AI such center that cater and foster the efforts of the alignment of the research. And why I am bringing today this example, because it is similar to what we are trying here today. Gather people mind with similar mindsets to try to articulate the challenges towards AI governance and ethical regulations. And it's important to foster our development and to make sustainable, let's say, advancement towards AI and utilizing AI in different and various economies and sector. So we didn't start from Falcon, we started from Noor. It was the first Arabic LLM model that has been released in 2022. At that time, I remember when I go to conferences and try to speak our first Arabic LLMs, and even AI Summit in London, only the AI expert community understand the, let's say, the critical and the importance of generative AI model at that time. ChatGPT was not released yet. And thanks to OpenAI, who generated and released ChatGPT, and within 5 days, you can see over 1 million users. And this is what to create the whole over attention. Why ChatGPT? Because you can have easy access to public information, but the fundamental issue with this public information, as we train these and develop these large language models, that these models can hallucinate, can provide misinformation. And why is that? It's similar to as a human being. You are trying to read many books, and if I ask you after one day, and imagine that you read 100 books, try to provide with me examples of numbers. You start to struggle as a human being. It's the same thing with artificial intelligence machine, especially that it's trained using common crawl data set that is reside on the internet. Nobody is, let's say, checking the correctness of this information. So it is our responsibility as AI expert to make sure that whatever is out there using this generative AI model is correct, and it is important to provide a framework to regulate the use of this generative AI model. Today, and I thank my colleagues who shed the light on the multimodality. We are living in an era that large language model is no longer an important thing, because what really matters is our journey toward artificial general intelligence. And one of the key components that we are trying to figure out today is how we combine text, images, audio, The same example with a human being. You are trying to read, generate a text, listen, and view. And we are trying to mimic the same thing with the multimodal generative AI model to generate and to try to interpret these images and text and video messages. If I will move to the second section of our discussion and the importance to regulate these output from generative and multimodality models is how we can ensure that we can put a strong and let's say a resilient framework that all the nations, they can rely on using these AI frameworks. History offers valuable lessons for us. And the Hiroshima AI process that has been initiated under Japan's presidency in the G7 in 2023 is named after a city that symbolizes both the devastating potential of technological advancement and the hope for peace through international cooperation. In 1945, we witnessed the catastrophic consequences of nuclear weapons. And today we are living in an era where AI is classified in the same level of a nuclear weapon. This led to a global recognition of the need for international standards and regulation to prevent nuclear proliferation and promote the peaceful use of nuclear let's say energy. The Hiroshima AI process serves as a reminder of our collective efforts and responsibility that underscore the urgency of developing international guidelines that reflect shared values and also prevent misuse of AI technology. And here I was thrilled to join with His Excellency Hiroshi Yoshida, the Vice Minister of Policy Cooperation, Minister of Internal Affairs and Communication in Japan, during the United Nations Governance Day. As we were joining the panel discussion, we have people from United States, European Commission, the UK, and also Korea and Japan, where His Excellency Hiroshi Yoshida mentioned a very important point, and I would like here to quote what he discussed with me, that Japan's international efforts in AI governance is poised, and it is the core concept of the Hiroshima AI process, and we need some kind of governance framework, but it should be interoperable. And what we meant by that is we could develop an international regulation, but as nation, as an AI expert, as people who are sitting on, let's say, the council of each country, they know what is the best framework and regulation that fit their nation. And we are sitting near to the future summit that will be convened in New York to discuss the outcome of the United Nations High-Level Advisory Board on what is the best practices that we should put towards regulating AI on international level. Also, we must put our efforts and collaborate, especially when it comes to the semiconductor industry. I think that the rapid pace of the developments of AI technology urges the acceleration of the developments and the access of computing power. Before maybe 2 to 3 years, no one is urging that need of semiconductor industry. We witnessed that need only in the COVID-19, where there was a shortage in chips, which affected massive industries, including the autonomous. Today also, we have limited access to the semiconductor industry, where the computing chips is the core of the development and the training and the deployment of these AI advancements. In United Arab Emirates, we have national strategy that puts clear objectives how we want to utilize and advance our nation in various sectors utilizing AI and advanced technology. Abu Dhabi itself is investing more than $3 million yearly in research and innovation. We have different bodies, they are working on AI regulation and investment in semiconductor industry. And here today we are aiming to foster our collaboration and partnership with Japan as a think tanks on how we can collaborate further and deepening our ties on these strategic importance corner in, that we have for AI development. I would like to conclude the AI governance faces a significant gap here today in technological capabilities, which is the necessity for regulatory compliance. And AI governance requires our collective action, our collective efforts, our collective mindset toward the development of sustainable advancement in various sectors and various economies, and for the betterment for our society and our nation. Thank you.
So thank you very much for Dr. Eves Sam. Thank you very much. And next, Dr. Mohammed Soliman will report on the issue of the AI in the competition between the United States and China over advanced science and technology. Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me? Oh, fantastic. So I have a little warning for you. I'm not as eloquent or smart as my fellow panelists. So fair to say, second jet lag is messing with my brain cells. So if I sounded more incoherent, I blame the jet lag. In all seriousness, congrats on this partnership between Trends and University of Tokyo. Fantastic work, seeing UE and Japan cooperating specifically on AI, something that we have been calling for, and I really appreciate you for leading the way on that. Going back to the issue of AI governance, so why we care about AI governance, like what makes this a big thing, why you were always reading on New York Times, Washington Post, Foreign Policy, all these conversations about who's leading the way on AI governance. Is it EU? Is it Washington? Is it China? The reason why AI governance is extremely important because it will make a decision on your privacy, on digital taxation from big platforms to emerging markets, about what are the guardrails and red lines when it comes to deployment of AI on the battlefield. So you have a lot of themes that are associated with which vision for AI will prevail in this sort of phase. So I'm going to offer you a realist perspective on where we are on this AI governance. I'm trying to make sure it's less of a US-centric view. I will make sure that you have an idea about how we are trying to figure this out. The AI governance is very fragmented. We have multiple models emerging from different regions and different countries, but more specifically Washington, Brussels, and to some extent Beijing. For AI governance, for quite some time, the assumption was the EU will succeed in imposing what we call the Brussels effect. The same way they did the same thing 10 years ago when it comes to cross-border data, when it comes to data. So they released the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, I believe 2015 or 2016. And then, back then, that was a really big deal because GDPR laid the framework for how all your countries have been thinking about privacy, about data privacy, about cross-border data, about the way to engage with American big tech when it comes to data rights. And even the concept of data rights, the idea of cross-border data before GDPR was still kind of a bit, not really a thing, quite honestly, but GDPR made sure that it gave the language for all these governments to think about data privacy. So the assumption with AI that when the EU adopts the EU AI Act, that means that the rest will follow, that the EU vision of a much more restrictive, highly regulated AI will prevail, and this will going to be the new way forward for AI. Well, the bad news is Washington has changed. Washington has a skin in the game. the data I'm going to give you is not really packed by any specific publicly available information, but almost 80% of the global AI capabilities exist in the United States. It's Meta, which owns WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook. It's OpenAI and ChatGPT, OpenAI and Microsoft Alliance. It's, of course, Google. And then you have many more domain-specific AI companies that are coming from specifically the West Coast. So there's an interest in Washington to make sure that this restrictive vision coming from Brussels are not going to prevail. So how Washington does counter the Europeans, they basically start by having what we call the White House voluntary commitments for AI guidelines last year. It was announced, I believe, around September 2023. And the reason why this is extremely important, because Washington is not really pushing for fines. It's not really pushing for some sort of punishment against companies. They're basically pushing for guidelines, red lines. Maybe we can have some sort of privacy aspect to these sort of large language models, but no fines, no restriction. Because Washington, the way Washington and the United States is thinking about AI is through the length of China and the competition with China and great power competition. How can we move ahead? How can we deploy large language models in a domain-specific manner that will help our government, that will help our military and our own capabilities? So any sort of privacy-centric view that's coming from Brussels is something that Washington is not really keen on. The second aspect of this, after they just did the White House voluntary commitments last year, they have been pushing for other visions to emerge. And one of those visions was the UK AI Safety Summit. The UK AI Safety Summit was seen as, okay, how about we come up with different models even within the EU camp? Something like the UK was extremely important because the UK AI Safety Summit also did not come up with more restrictive views, mostly on, I would say, less restrictive view on deployment of AI. And we had just had the South Korea AI Safety Summit a week ago, I believe. And one of the reasons that these conversations that sounds wonky and bit detailed, Mohammed, why you're telling us about GDPR, Seoul, London, White House, because these are the kind of conversations that are going to be shaping the global discussion around AI. And we have seen that somehow that the UN AI resolution that was passed consensus earlier in the year was also a reflection of more of an American view. Let's have a less restrictive view on AI deployment, because what we care about is offering emerging markets and frontier markets with AI capabilities to build their infrastructure, their educational system, and the governance structure. And one of the most interesting things that we're having right now is we have a point where countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Japan, Korea might be way ahead than the European Union when it comes to AI deployment because of that sort of fragmentation of the AI governance. That the EU has decided that let's focus on certain aspects of AI, even if that meant being left behind. I know that sounds a bit commercial, but when Apple decides that they're not going to rule out their generative AI services within the EU bloc, I think this is a game changer when it comes to the way that we're thinking about European market, their impact, their influence on these sort of trends, and how Washington, by working not only with the American tech companies, but also working with countries of the likes of Japan, Korea, UAE, have been able to impose or at least advocate for a vision that favors tech companies, that favors fast deployment of AI. And again, it's mostly of the California style of move fast and break things. I think the other player of AI that I would say is always left out of the room is usually is China. And I think China is in a very interesting position in this conversation. Part of it, this AI conversation is very English-centric in terms of language, in terms of large language models, in terms of the languages that are represented in the services you are seeing. Gemini, ChatGPT, and other domain-specific AI applications. But I think what was unique about China is the idea that they're building very Chinese-centric AI systems, and they have their own large language models. Of course, they benefited the most from 25 years, 20 years of massive data collection effort that allowed the Chinese state and the Chinese tech companies of having massive data storage and large language models that they're able to utilize. And on top of that, they have also the capacity of processing these sort of large language models. People think that AI is just data. AI is also hardware. AI, like what Ambassador Fahim has said, is tied to energy, data centers, cloud capabilities, and also having the capability of deploying this in a domain-specific fashion. I think China, I think on the other side of the conversation, has been also moving as fast as they can because they know that Washington is working very hard to bog them down where they are. But I think the idea that they have non-English language AI capabilities is very interesting for global South countries that do not really speak English, do not really have the same capabilities here. And I think I have a lot of things to add, but I'm not going to keep rambling. I'm just going to keep it short and looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the Dr. Mohammed-san. So, and then I'd like to say that today's panel discussion topic is the problem the world interfacing with AI governance. And I think the problem contains many phases, and scientific, technological research and development phase, and also the specific to the Middle East region, and also the ethical and the human and rights phases, and also the phase in the international power politics. And in view of the different phases explained today, and I'd like to discuss again what the current and important specific issues are in the area in the AI governance in your field. And first of all, and what do you think about that Harada Sensei?
So one of the problems in this area is the hallucination. So the generative AI tells a lie. So it's a very, very difficult problem. But I think that it is impossible to completely eliminate the hallucination of the generative model. So, but we can decrease the possibility to generate the hallucination of the generative AI. So one way to decrease the hallucination is to make the AI not only output the results, but also the confidence of their answer. The other solution is the explainable ability of the AI. So, and we want to make the AI to explain the reason why they output those results. And for the, I'm a scientist, and scientists always, not always, they usually doubt the common sense. Okay, in that mean the hallucination is a good use for the evil, but good for the scientist. So I think the hallucination is one of the source of the creative intelligence. So if we completely eliminate the hallucination, so we also eliminate the creative intelligence from the generative AI. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So Dr. Carrison, what do you think about it?
I think for in ISISCO, for 53 member state, our charter is based for on core ethical principle, like it's very important respect for human dignity, privacy protection, and promoting social justice with the solidarity, etc. These principles I think ensure that AI to develop a way that benefits humanity, promote fairness, and respect the culture and religious identity of our society. And maybe I think it's very important to promote the idea of language because maybe in Arabic there is, you know, when you ask ChatGPT, just you can answer in English. And we must promote, we work in ISISCO in the glossary of AI in 3 languages, in Arabic, French, and English, to promote this idea of AI in English.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Samson, what do you think about it?
I think the main challenge, not only for generative AI model, but if we speak about AI and AI integrated in the healthcare domain, robotics and autonomous industries, is transparency and accountability. And I can also add to capacity building in these critical area. We have lack of AI tech talents around the world. And if we have them, they are already immersed in the developments of these technological advancements. Knowledge sharing between different nations is critical component to ensure that how we can guard rail and develop let's say, resilient AI frameworks that we can utilize in AI governance and in our AI utilization across different sectors and economies.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Mohammed, what do you think about it?
I think the main concern for me is intellectual property rights. I think one of the things that you are seeing right now is those newspapers, publishing houses who have been launching lawsuits against some of those AI service providers over their own rights. You have authors who had their articles, their books have been used to train some of those models. So this is a big concern given the level of financial aspect of that sort of intellectual property. Two is basically who has access to domain-specific large language models. I think some of the conversations. So I serve on something called the Global AI Commission for Military Domain, launched by the Dutch government. And one of the things we have been discussing is basically the role of non-state actors, and we have been seeing some trends of non-state actors either on the criminal side or on the, I would say, on the security side, who have been able to utilize some sort of domain-specific large language models to help with some of the aspects that they work on. I think this is something that we're still trying to grapple with because we still not really sure how to have guardrails around the user base of large language models. The third one also is the concentration of AI. I think this is a big issue. The concentration of AI. Now we have almost 80% of AI capacity existing in the United States, almost 20% exists in China, and everyone else is basically missing in between. Hopefully, because of the massive need for energy supplier to build these sort of data centers, that maybe will lead to some sort of AI spillover into countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia, maybe Japan, maybe Germany, but this is a prospect. We're not really sure yet. So I would say those are the three main concerns when it comes to AI for me.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have only 5 minutes, and so let's go move on to the next and the second topic. And could you talk about the future, for example, the 2050 of the AI governments? What do you think about in your field, the briefly? And so, first of all, Harada-san.
I'm sorry that I'm not an expert of the governance of the AI. I'm an AI researcher. So in the 2050, so it's too long. But my interest is to develop the embodied AI. So the current AI is only focusing on the information processing, but we have the body and intelligence not exist not only in the brain but in our body. So, but the development of the super efficient body like the human. So it's very delayed compared to the information science aspect for the AI. So we want to develop both the high efficient body and high efficient and intelligence, and we want to integrate both things into the one. And we want to use this embodied AI to solve the social problems like aging society in all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you. What thing? Yes,
Yeah.
Doctor.
For me, AI impact world is big by 2030. It's expected to add $50.7 trillion for the global economy. But which this great potential can challenges. AI is expected to disrupt the job market to remove 85 million jobs by 2025 and creating 97 million jobs. By in 2030, the Islamic world is accepted to receive only 2% of AI global benefits, even though it's now a fastest growing region and is set to become the largest globality community by 2070. This difference to need for inclusive AI governance framework to ensure that all regions.
Thank you. And Dr. Ebsam? Yeah,
Dr. Ibtisam.
Ebsam, sorry.
I need to teach you the pronunciation later after the panel, but thank you for this. I believe the main thing that we should aim, especially towards looking to 2050, and especially UAE Centennial Goals 2071, we are focusing our efforts toward human-centric solutions, how we can utilize AI and advanced technology to have a better solution that can improve a human life, and we should center and align our efforts toward that goal. Of course, governance, collaboration, international cooperation is crucial parts that can further the advancement of sustainable development goal and how we can utilize AI towards artificial general intelligence in different sectors from healthcare. I believe healthcare and education will take the most important utilization when we are speaking about AI, because we can utilize AI to come up with a new drug discovery. Also, we can utilize it to come up with a new material that it can be utilized to minimize the effect of carbon emission toward the sustainable, let's say, economy, sustainable future, sustainable living, and also to have, let's say, societies where culture and advancement of technology, we can utilize them both at the same time.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Mohammed Hassan?
I mean, I hope we don't really have a Skynet in 2050. But in all seriousness, I think the concern, or my own crystal ball tells me that in the future we're going to have AI acting as force multiplier, meaning those advanced economies, those developed economies will benefit the most from AI applications across the board, the way that they're going to be able to deploy it and integrate it in their society and their economy. And then I think the rest of the world will be suffering and being left behind. And I think this is going to be, we started to see that sort of dark reality taking place in some of the sub-regions that I cover and I travel to. And I think by 2050, even by 2030, you're going to start seeing that sort of great divergence that caused by AI in a greater scale.
Okay, thank you very much for the panelists. So I would like to close this session. So, and thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much.